WOKB for 52 years, the longest running, strongest signal in inspiration and gospel with 10,000 watts of power.
Welcome to another edition of Real Family Talk. Hello. Welcome to Real Family Talk. Starting a little late tonight, but that's all right. We had to work some things out here in the computer, but we got it together now. We're ready to go. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday evening. I think I'm listening to myself. It sounds a little off tonight, but that's okay. It got a little cold, but we'll work through this thing. Yes, thank you for tuning in and listening to Real Family Talk. Let me go ahead and welcome everybody in the building here. We got Mr. King's in the building. How you doing, Mr. King?
My brother, I'm not sick. I'm feeling good. Ready to do this.
We got Jeremy in the building, a.k.a. younger brother. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. We got Jamba's in the building. How you doing, Jamba?
I'm amazing. Thanks for asking.
I wish I could be amazing right now, Jamba.
Her hair is amazing. So amazing. And
Mr. Frank Torres is in the building as well. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing all right. You guys always have cool things to say. I never think of anything. On the way to the station, I always think I'm going to try to think of something cool to say when it's my turn to say hi, and I always fail. So I'm just going to say hello.
That's all right, Frank. No problem.
There's nothing uncool about hello, Frank.
Not at all. I just want to, before we get started, basketball started last night. The Magic.
Woohoo!
The Magic played their first game last night. I didn't see the game, but Mr. King was telling me the Magic lost. Did you see the game, Brother Jeremy?
No, I just saw where New Orleans. Well, I can't say. Well, yeah, New Orleans kind of pulled away and didn't let go. What's his name that used to be here? Was it Chris Anderson? That used to be here? Greg Anderson? I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah, Chris Anderson shoot the threes.
Yeah, Chris Anderson. Yeah. He hit like 3 threes.
Yeah.
He scored like 8 or 10 points in a row, and that pulled it away, and it was pretty much over after that.
No, I think the brother who had 9 blocks, 15 rebounds, 25 points.
I mean, he did it the whole game, but it was a stretch. It was like a stretch in the third quarter where Chris Anderson hit like 8 points in a row. And that's when it pulled away, and the Magic was no good after that.
So the Magic is 0-1 is basically what you're telling me.
That's at the end of the day. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. All right. Who else? Any other good games last night? Like I said, I didn't know.
The Lakers played Houston.
It wasn't a good game, though.
Let me tell you what happened though. So Dwight elbows Kobe in the mouth. And then that's when the game got good. That's when it got really good. Because, Dwight is actually changing. He's not that childish demeanor that he used to always have. He actually, man, if Kobe would have stepped up the wrong way, not this year, man. Dwight not joking around, Chris. Dwight got some fierce in his heart. Like, y'all think I'm a game. I'm going to show y'all something.
Well, this is the thing. One thing about that. If Kobe would have actually stepped to Dwight when he was in Orlando, Dwight still would have dropped him. I mean, y'all act like Kobe the hardest guy in the NBA. Kobe soft too, but he played fierce.
We talking about Dwight though. Dwight is the biggest joke in the NBA. He really should be more of a dominant. He should be getting 19 blocks. I'm sorry, he should be getting 9 blocks, 15 rebounds, and 25 points per game. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, that's like saying Manute Bol should have did it because he was 7'6".
Well, Manute Bol spoke 7 languages, so he really don't care.
What does that got to do with?
It's just, you got to have your strong points. And if you're going to have your strong points.
Because he was smart and he spoke a bunch of languages, he can't. That he couldn't do what he's supposed to.
What I'm saying is it didn't matter.
Oh, okay.
The White will do nothing after the NBA.
He's not going to do anything?
He going to act.
He got the personality for all the entertainment.
He was in a movie, but you can't tell me the name of that movie.
I can tell you the name of a bunch of movies Shaq was in, but I can tell you they wasn't that good.
Shaq is one of the best actors to come out of the NBA, brother.
Hey, the best movie he was in
Kazam was a great movie.
What was the name of that movie, the basketball movie, with him and Penny?
Blue Chips.
Blue Chips. Yeah.
Blue Chips. Neon Bordeaux.
Hey, that's the best acting he ever did.
That was.
Neon Bordeaux.
That was his name. Yeah, I remember Blue Chips. Blue Chips was a great movie. I think Kazam was one of his best ones, though.
Okay.
Kazam, if you've never seen Kazam.
That's like saying Independence Day deserved an Oscar.
It really did. Independence Day was a great film.
Yeah, Will Smith yelling at the alien, I got you!
Bro, I don't care what you say. Independence was the #1 film until Titanic and then until Avatar. Independence was the number one, and it still is number 3 or number 4 right now
No, it's not.
in the world.
What?
It's
not.
It's Titanic, Avatar.
No, Avatar is first, actually.
Oh, Avatar. Okay, Avatar, Titanic, Star Wars, and then Independence Day, bro.
No, I don't think so.
I think Avengers.
Avengers might
started
have.
creeping
That's
in there,
new, so I'm not for sure, but I'm willing to bet some push-ups. I'm broke. I ain't got no money.
He's taking it back to 94.
But we can bet some push-ups. What? I'm not a gambling man. I go to church. But we can bet some
just because the
push-ups.
stake is push-ups don't make it not gambling.
Well, you know,
That's still a wager.
it helping each other out. If I lose, I still win.
Okay, I got you.
Some push-ups, bro. Oh man, gotta love these crews, man. Let's go ahead. Frank came to talk to us about some Orange County politics. As you know, we're a little less than a week away from the official voting day, November 4th. But early voting is going on. It's going on through certainly Friday. Some places you can go still on Saturday and Sunday as well. So make sure you go early vote if you can't make it on November 4th, man. I can't stress enough how important it is to go out and vote and represent and, you know, pick whatever candidate that you want to support. Of course, we got the governor Florida governor is on our ballot. Here in Florida, there's a ton of congressional seats in the state that are open still, as well as the national level, and then tons of different Orange County, different amendments in the different counties across the state as well. So a lot for you to go and express your voice and opinion on, so that you can contribute to who actually is going to serve you in office, man. I can't tell you how important that is to go out and vote. Go out and vote. But right now we're going to swing it over to Frank. And I asked Frank to talk to me about the Orange County amendments that you're going to be seeing. So let's go there, Frank. Talk to me about these amendments.
You know, these amendments are probably the most confusing part of the entire Elections Day process. You know, they're full with a lot of big words. They don't get a lot of media coverage. And they, you know, a lot of people leave them blank because they don't know what these things are. They're like, you know, I don't want to advocate for something I don't believe in. I don't want to vote or be a part of something that I'm not sure will be the outcome of. So they leave them blank, and especially the local ones, because the local ones aren't getting any publicity. On the state level, everybody knows about Amendment 2. That's the legalization of medical marijuana. Everybody's pretty sure how they're going to vote on that one. On a state level, there's Amendment 1, which is a water bill, which puts aside money for water purposes, for drinking water, things along those lines. So you hear the radio ads right here. I think we heard one before we went on air tonight. But the county ones are a little bit tricky. I guess we can just go by, just go at them one at a time. There's the first question, or Amendment A. What it basically does is it raises the amount of petition signatures needed to get on the ballot. Right now, it takes a certain amount of petitions to get on the ballot. Only 2 initiatives have made it on the ballot, and we'll talk about another one here in a second. So it's difficult to do. So it really believes the person should vote really according to how much they feel or how difficult it should be to get something on the ballot based on petitions. It's good to have a decent number because you don't want an outside group to just pay a bunch of canvassers to get the petitioners on the ballot. Then again, you don't want it too high because then you get the real initiatives out there that won't be able to get on it either. So voters just need to be aware of that amendment. It has to do with occasions for getting initiatives on the ballot, and it really sets the tone for the other questions we're going to talk about. Amendment.
So that's Amendment A. So basically,
or question A.
Yeah.
Amendment A or question A. When the voters hear this, Amendment B or question B. Those are what the language they'll encounter on the ballot.
Yeah, I was looking at that. So right now it takes 45 days when you're signing up with a petition for it to between the date that it started and the next election.
That's correct.
With the amendment, if it were to pass, that 45 days would go to 150 days.
That's correct.
So 5 months between when you verify the signatures and then when it can actually show up on the ballot.
Yeah, and it also that's also done to decrease the window of time an initiative can take to get on the ballot. Now, make no mistake, all these questions, all these amendments are a battle between the Orange County Commission and a bunch of activists that have been, protesting over there over the last 2 years over paid sick time. You might have heard about that. It was a big situation up at the county commission where there was an initiative being pushed that would have made it mandatory for all employers that had more than 50 people working for them to provide paid sick time to their employees. The advocates in favor of it said, hey, paid sick time is the right of the worker. The opponents of it thought that the accountability involved with it wasn't enough, and it could lead to frivolous lawsuits and ultimately hurt hiring. All of these amendments were based off of that ballot. This first measure was the question A was was proposed by a city commissioner to make initiatives like that harder to get on the ballot, initiatives that were fueled by activists to get on the ballot. Now, right. It does come down to personal belief on each one. These are, while there's some political angling involved, it really comes down to over how the voter believes that government should be run. Right. And I know these initiatives they ain't as exciting as Fangate or people going nuts at debates or anything along those lines. These are the vegetables. I guess we ate the dessert earlier in the election cycle. We got some vegetables today, but they're still really important.
Very important.
Very important. Right. So basically, like I said, it lengthens the time that petition can actually go to the election of the people.
That is correct.
Because it actually lengthens that time. Like I said, 150 days, which is a long time actually.
It is a long time, but once again, it's personal belief. If you're working on an initiative out long enough, maybe you think you should have your act together 150 days out. But it all depends on the gut instinct of the voter and what they honestly believe.
All right, amendment or question B.
Amendment B was it looks like the amendment B was basically it was a paid sick time amendment that was made null and void by a state legislative committee. Basically, the state passed down legislation that said that you can't regulate things like paid sick time at the local level. It was passed down. It was done to nullify the sick time initiative that passed here in Orange County during the August elections. So this one is more like this could be more of a figurehead of an amendment. It's just basically there for show because it's already been nullified at the state level. So now question C is a very ideological. It gets down to the ideology of the way you feel government should be run. It's whether you believe all the county commissioners and the mayors should be partisan races. Now you hear the argument a lot of times that should party be involved when it comes to fixing the streets, to fixing a pothole, or handling local affairs? Do you need Republicans and Democrats on that? Well, I think that's really the belief a person needs to think about when they go to Amendment C.
So if Amendment C were to pass, we know
the party of the people running for local offices.
Of the people running for
local offices. You get the RAP next to their name. You get the DEM next to their name.
Right. Well, I think whoever the proponents are for that particular amendment is just another way to separate the ideology of the people.
The ideology of the people. And keep in mind, the commission's a Republican-controlled commission. You got 5 Republicans and 1 commissioner, which is Tiffany Moore Russell. Those numbers are going to stay the same after the elections, unless Alvin Moore gets elected on D2. The Republicans will still have the majority. Now, most of them are moderate, middle-of-the-road Republicans, except for one, and he's the guy that's termed out and will be leaving at the end of this election cycle. But what it boils down to is, do you believe parties should be involved with local politics, and should they be and should those parties be displayed next to their names.
Got it.
So, and there's been a lot of drama at the county about these things, and whether it should be, whether that should be a factor or not.
And then Amendment D.
Now, Amendment D is for the positions that aren't currently partisan, that are currently partisan, to make them non-partisan. The sheriff, the tax collector, the clerk of court, and all those things along those lines. Those currently are partisan. That goes against the belief of the previous question. If you believe the county commissioners and the mayor should be partisan, why should the other charter offices be partisan?
Right.
And like I said, these are all politically angled initiatives, and it just really depends on what the voter believes and things along those lines. I mean. And it's been a hot debate up at the county commission for the last 2 years. If those initiatives pass, Amendment C, the mayor will be up for re-election again in 2 years, and it would be there's definitely a lot of political games involved with these amendments, which is why they're so difficult to read and which is why they're so difficult to understand.
Gotcha. So just to summarize real quick, so Amendment A, basically it's going to lengthen the time from when the petition signatures have been signed, and then when they can actually go to on the election ballot.
Right.
So right now it is at 45 days. If Amendment A were to pass, it would go to 150.
Correct.
And then Amendment B has to do with the sick leave amendment. So with the Amendment B, it says it would. Some of the what I read here says it'll seriously limit the ability to regulate the employer wages, benefits, or
but that was the figurehead one because it's sort of nullified by the state government.
Okay.
So I mean, it's just kind of up there for show, really.
Okay. All right.
Right.
And then Amendment C. And then Amendment C is going to is advocating to change what are now nonpartisan local races to partisan local races.
Right, exactly.
So we're right now.
Right now we got nonpartisan county commissions and mayor races.
Right.
And
so we don't know what their party affiliation is. So, but if we were to pass Amendment C, we know there'd be a Republican candidate,
Republican versus Democrat, just like every other.
Orange County Commissioner, District 6, a Republican and a Democratic candidate, and then they battle each other out,
right,
and so forth. Okay, and then Amendment D, with Amendment D, what it does is it makes some positions that are nonpartisan, or I should say, it makes some positions that are currently partisan nonpartisan.
That's correct.
So it's almost like the anti.
It's the anti-C question.
Anti-C. Now I also saw in here there's something about adding term limits to some of the local.
Yeah,
offices as well.
the currently partisan races would currently add term limits to those as well. We've had those people in those races, people in those seats. They tend to stay there for a really long time.
Got it.
And that's because they got name ID. The tax collector, you got your bill up there. Everybody knows who the sheriff is. Everybody knows Sheriff Jerry Demings, and everybody knows, those offices, and there's familiarity with those. And familiarity, means comfort, and sticking with what you know, Right. So it just really all comes down to personal beliefs. And listen, I know this is tough to talk about, but it's important. That way these voters don't, go to the polls completely unaware of what's going on. And so many people leave these things empty. And they walk out of that ballot. They're called undervoters. They don't vote on everything, and they can affect some really important things. So it's important that they do their homework before they head to the polls. And this is the last show before election day, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the last one.
So I mean, it's just really by the time we're all here next week, it's gonna be all said and done, and it's gonna be
a wrap.
There's gonna be a lot of hurt feelings.
Have a new governor and everything.
Well, we'll see. It's gonna be close. We were talking about recount this morning, and there's a chance we could be here next week, and we still might not know who the governor is. It's a long shot, but that would just be a nightmare. But we'll see what happens.
Nightmare. That's just we need another SNL skit about it.
All right, and then now the other thing I wanted you to tell me about is a candidate for Congress, Glo Smith. What can you tell me about Glo Smith?
Well, Glow's got a great story, but Glow's also going against Kareem Brown, who's been in office about 20 years, and her district is very blue, very Democratic. Now, what's it called? There have been some really tough contenders to oppose Kareem Brown in District 5, but when you got that REP next to your name on the ballot in such a blue district, which stretches from here all the way up to Jacksonville, it works against you. I mean, they don't elect Republicans in that seat. So Glow's a great candidate. I've spoken to her several times. She's got her act together, but she's a big underdog in that seat. And if she were to beat Kareem Brown, it would be national news because Kareem's been in office forever. Everybody has a particular opinion on Kareem and the way she does things and the way she the way she operates. But right now, she's heavily favored in that seat.
Right, and Glow Smith is a black Republican, so
yeah,
I saw.
And if you don't believe that your background or where you come from has any effect on the races which you run, then it's a naive way to be, because it does. Communities want one of their own, somebody who understands their values and their aspects of how they believe things should be done, and that's what you're seeing there in District 5.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That's a tough battle then if she's going against Kareem Brown.
Yeah, she's going against Kareem Brown. I mean,
Kareem Brown is a staple.
She is a staple.
Glow Smith like the Spartans from 300.
Yeah, we're going to see. There are a lot of what happened to them at the end. So
right. And Kareem Brown advocates especially for a lot of the issues that the community is talking about, the stand your ground.
Stand your ground, yep.
All that kind of stuff. Which, it's really a moot point, stand your ground. But that's what they're advocating for. So she's definitely on the wrong side of things, Glow Smith. But much luck to her. Much luck to her. All right, man. This is the last Wednesday for our show anyway. Anything else people need to know about as we head into November 4th, the official voting day for the country?
Hey, just get out there. Just get out there and vote. Just do it. Do it tomorrow. Don't put it off, because if you don't, you hear all the time your vote makes a difference. This time it is going to make a difference. Personally, I'm tired of these two men running for governor very much. These people have taken over my life since January. I'm very tired. But I tell you what, it is important that everybody gets out and lets their voice be heard. And we're going to have a lot of fun election night. And we got some big names coming to town this weekend. It was just announced that Bill Clinton will be here.
He's coming back.
He's coming back to UCF on election eve.
Oh, he'll be there Monday night, huh?
Monday night. Wow. Bill Clinton at UCF.
Tampa on Sunday.
He's coming back because this is a really important race. This is a gauge, to how the country feels.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I saw even they had Rudy Giuliani commenting.
Rudy Giuliani, you know what he said about Charlie Crist?
Yeah, tell me what he said, Frank.
He said, I've known a lot of people in politics. Keep in mind, this is the mayor, of New York that was in charge during 9/11. He goes, I've met some wonderful people. I've met some not wonderful people. I've never met anyone that I disrespect more in politics than Charlie Crist. And after he said that comment, the lieutenant governor, the guy who's been slamming Charlie Crist from the last, 10 months, even he looked like, wow, that coming from Rudy Giuliani, that's a powerful statement.
A powerful statement. It's a political statement.
It's a political statement, but man, you talk about the guy whose city was, a portion of his city was destroyed, and he's been, in politics for so long. To say he disrespects, Charlie Crist more than any other politician he's seen in his life, that's something big, man. And of course, you'll see it on television here shortly.
Right.
So.
and I get what you're saying. He's from New York. Who really cares about what Giuliani has to say? And I hear that point, but just the idea that he took the time out to go in. There's a lot of different ways you could talk about how you don't like a candidate, but to say out of everybody I've met in politics, this is the one guy I really don't. That's what makes it so powerful, is because it was emotion. That was like an emotional statement. It's not just a glowing non-endorsement. It is an emotional statement to make about an individual, which I think that's why it seems so powerful.
Well, to me, it almost like the fact that he publicly said that, it kind of feels like that's how important this governor's race is, I guess, nationally in the political realm. That he feels like he needs to make that statement to get these Republicans out here so they can keep that seat.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. The big element in this race is we know Republicans are going to show up. You know, they do better during the midterms. Mm-hmm. They circle it on their calendar. They're doing warm-up stretches outside the voting booth. The question is, can Charlie Crist get his people to turn out?
Right.
We know Florida's blue. It went blue for Barack Obama in the last 2 presidential elections. And it goes blue in all the close races around the state, but it all comes down to turnout and whether he can get his people to the polls. And both candidates have a negative opinion of them recently, and we'll see what happens. You know, I mean, hopefully they're not. You know, hopefully voters aren't so worn down by both of them that they just throw their hands up in the air and then go do something else on election day, which is a possibility. So
I sure hope not. They can't do worse than they did for the primaries. Well, maybe they can.
We'll see. I think numbers are already up over the primaries.
Yeah, numbers are already up over the primaries.
We'll have 6 people going to vote in precincts. can't even field a baseball team.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Well, like you said, next week this time we'll know who the opinions are. I say who the winners are, who the losers are, and you'll be back. And hopefully we'll have some people join you as well, and we'll talk about all the results that have happened in the state of Florida. Who's in, who's out, and what is Amendment 2 passed or not? We'll find out, man. We'll find out.
If it doesn't pass, it was all because of John Morgan. Just remember that. So, he should have stayed in the background, but
nah. You know he's done a lot, I think, to help it out. So
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
We can't make him too angry. There's a lot of ad dollars out there.
The argument on that, though, the argument against it to me kind of just sounds funny at this point, because when you look at what's happening across the country, there's so many states out there that are a model for, let's say, how it works. When you have all of these negative ads to say, oh, it can't work, it's not possible, it's this and it's that, it's like, well, what have you been looking at when you saw these 20 other states that have it going on? I don't know, bro. I just say, we'll see what happens, man.
We'll see what happens. It'll be fun.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be a good time. Frank, man, we appreciate it, man.
Anytime. Always great to be here with you guys.
Let them know how to get in contact with you, Frank.
Orlando-politics.com or the Orlando Political Observer. On Twitter, @FrankTorresNet. Just remember, when you tweet at me, I ain't going to have nothing cool to say. It's going to be a boring conversation, and we're going to talk about these charter amendments all over again so that you're educated before you head out to the polls. So.
Thanks, Frank, man. We appreciate Frank coming by.
Mm-hmm.
So November 4th, people, November 4th. Make sure you go out and either vote on November 4th or go out and catch these early voting days that are happening through the weekend as well, man. So vote. Go pick your candidate. Vote. I see you voted today, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah. You noticed the sticker, huh?
I did notice the sticker.
Yes,
brother.
I wear my sticker proud. Like I'm the sheriff, you know. Just.
So who'd you vote for, Jeremy? Was it Scott or Chris?
Excuse me, I would like you to stay out of my personal life. That is personal business. You should not ask me what I vote. It's like asking me what's my HIV status. None of your business, sir.
Oh, man. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Feel free to give me a call tonight. I'd love to hear from you if you want to tell me about any particular candidate and tell me why that candidate's great or why that candidate's bad. I'd love to hear from you. I just want to hear from you tonight. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680. Again, like we said, this is we're pushing 6 days, people. In 6 days, the official results will go down, and by 9 to 10, 11 or so at night, we'll know who the winners are and who the losers are, man. I can't wait. This is a good time of the year. Always a good time of the year when you have the election season going on, man. So we'll see what happens. That governor's race, as we know, is going to be close between Scott and Chris. I saw on Facebook, man, the students down at BCU, man, they were marching in the streets to go vote. I don't know what day it happened. I saw it today. I don't know if the videos were from today, though. So that's pretty cool, though. The students are out marching the streets to go and show their early voting, obviously.
I thought it was on their way to the Classic. I don't know.
Oh, my gosh.
Were they marching from Daytona to
It was a rally.
Classic's still a few weeks away,
Get
brother.
the Citrus Bowl done.
Oh, man. Is the Citrus Bowl done?
No, it's not. It's not going to be fully completed when Classic gets here, but it's going to be Classic ready. I guess if that's the word.
It's going to be Classic
It's going to be
ready,
Classic ready.
but it won't be fully complete.
It won't be fully completed. But it'll be fully completed when the Champ Sports Bowl come around.
Oh, you know it'll be fully completed by the chance.
Oh, yes. But it'll be Classic ready. Take
Whatever
that meaning how you will.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, man. What is Classic ready?
I don't know. I just made that up. That word. I just said Classic ready because I know it's not going to be fully complete.
Okay.
I go by there 4 or 5 times a week, and I'm just looking. I'm just like, I know, I'm not no project manager or anything of that nature, but I know it takes a while to get a stadium complete.
Gotcha.
And from all that stuff on the ground, I know it's not near finished.
Well, we'll see, brother. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, they definitely will have a game there. I know that for sure.
Yes, it will be a game then.
It will be a game. What date is that game go down? November 22nd, I think. Well, I don't know. I can't remember the exact date, but Classic weekend, man. It's gonna be a good weekend. We'll see. So some other stories, man, that are happening in the news here, man, that I've been kind of keeping my eye on. There was one story I saw about fast food. Fast food. Here, the story is talking about jobs, really. And it was commenting on how in the last 4 years, we know that we've seen a steady increase in jobs across the country. We know that we're watching the unemployment rate across the country go down as well. I think at the moment it is the lowest it's been since the president's been in office. And so a lot of people are celebrating that. They're saying, the economy's back and everything's moving. I'm still looking around and looking at people I know, and I still don't really see the difference. But that's what they're telling me that it's back.
I would say it's back and moving just from a sense of construction. To me, when you start seeing building, you start seeing the economy moving. Now, when I say the economy moving, that doesn't mean everybody's feeling it. That doesn't mean everybody who is unemployed and seeking employment is employed. But for all the building that's going on, I mean, you can kind of, and for all the tourism, the travel is getting crazy. It's like you can see a difference. To me, let's say that I can see a difference.
Okay. Well, going back to the story, what the story was talking about is that for 44% of the jobs in the last 4 years have been fast food related type jobs. 44%. That's a big number. 44% of the jobs have been fast food related jobs. And that's key because, of course, if it's a fast food related job, that means it's a low paying job. Yeah. So, I mean, at best, you're going to make, if you're lucky, about $10 an hour, maybe a little bit less. And so what the impact that it has on families, of course, is the idea that, if this is your mom or your dad, and so, back to work when they didn't have a job, but now they're back to work at McDonald's, and they're making $10 an hour. What is that doing to the family?
It's bringing money in. If you wasn't bringing money in before, let's say that. Now it might not be bringing a lot, but something's better than nothing. Let's say that.
Something's better than nothing.
Yeah, something is better than nothing.
Something is better than nothing. I will give you that. That I'd rather be making $50 than making $0.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But at the same time,
that's what you have to.
When you're talking about an increase in what's happening, if a majority of people are getting jobs at McDonald's or places like that, mm-hmm. then you're helping them, but it's not really a recovery because they're still not making any money that's going to be able to sustain them long term. That's a problem.
Yeah, you can't take care of a family off of $10 an hour.
You can if you're creative. Let's say that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's the ideal situation. Yeah, everybody go out, get the job at McDonald's and take care of your family. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is you have to learn to work with what you got at that moment.
That brother saying steal the food from McDonald's.
That's not what I'm saying.
Take the fries
That's not
home.
what I'm saying.
You ain't never got to cook if you work at McDonald's.
If Calvin didn't show you, McDonald's is not going to help you. If Dave Chappelle didn't show you that over the long term, I'm not talking about stealing food. What I'm saying is you you have to whatever situation, however much money you're making, you got to manage it right. And not saying it's easy, but sacrifices have to be made all the way around in anything you do. So.
But that's that's such a cop out because
no, that's not a cop out. It's a reality. If your reality is at this moment, this is the job that I have, you have to work with that situation. Now, while you have that job, that doesn't mean you don't go out and try to seek something better or work to get something better. But at that moment, at that situation, you have to kind of make your best out of it.
When are you supposed to go out and seek something better when you're working over 40 hours a week? Because
You're not working over 40 hours. Let's say not at one job. Let's say that nobody paid overtime. Not too many. Let's say that.
No, not too many. Are probably
it's very rare you get overtime.
But if you're working 40 hours, even if you work 40 hours, that still doesn't leave a whole lot of time to go out.
It doesn't leave a lot of time,
but more than anything, what I think is misleading, according to this article, about 36% of people from fast food workers by age from 2010 to 2012, 36% of them were between the ages of 25 and 54, which was a 6% higher than the ages of 16 to 24. So my point is, we're talking about this recovery that we have going on in the country, but yet if the recovery has a lot of people shifting into low-wage jobs, where's the real recovery?
I'm not saying it is a recovery. That's not what I'm discussing. What I'm talking about when you said about I'm just saying at that moment, that situation, if that's what you got to do, you got to work with that situation. But as I say, you always want to do better. Whether even if it's just a situation where you're getting promoted at McDonald's, you got to work to do better. And I do agree with you. If you were working somewhere else making $40,000 a year or whatever, and now you're working at McDonald's, obviously you're not progressing. It's going to be hard to work your way back to where you were. But
I think people are just kind of taking advantage of at this point.
Oh, most definitely.
Coming from nothing,
most definitely.
Of course, you're going to be happy with $10, like you said.
Most definitely.
Nothing. $10 more is more than nothing.
It is definitely an employer's market right now.
Mm-hmm.
They have it actually has been for the last probably 6 or 7 years. You have the pick of the litter. I was the industry that I was working in. I was in manufacturing. I was supervisor of the warehouse. I've seen it. Oh, you don't want to buy?
Exactly.
Somebody coming. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's coming in here to work.
I mean, I think that even happens in corporate America as well, and bigger
I'm
jobs,
sure
engineers.
I'm
all
sure
that
it is.
stuff,
A lot of people are having to compromise.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, you're about 60 hours right now. I need you to stay overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I can't because I have a family. Okay, well, we have no more work for you to do, so
yeah.
We're going to hire somebody who's going to do it because
I get the
everybody's
single person,
desperate at this point who needs something.
I get the single person coming straight out of college
who is willing to work
who want to work 8 hours because
exactly.
they're trying to make their way up the ladder anyway. Yeah.
Exactly. With paid half the price that you're getting paid at the moment.
Exactly.
So what do? You work those extra 10 hours and burn yourself out.
They come in fresh out the door. I ain't got to guarantee no vacation time. We get 3 days a week. 3 days a year, vacation time. They go, okay.
Exactly, because there's always somebody behind. There's always somebody behind you who's willing to do something that you're not.
Exactly, it is definitely an employer's market out here, and as you say, there are corporations all the way around. From low level employment all the way to the top. They're taking advantage of it.
Well, yeah, man. We'll see what happens, man. Like I said, it's really for me. It's just a real challenge to say. We're talking about, we're back, we're doing better, things are great. And then you read articles like this where a majority of people are working at McDonald's, and that's contributed to the surge.
Yeah, well, I'm not, because that's why I'm not a big statistics guy. Because like they say, this is the thing I don't like. When a report comes out, even when the president said, last month, 800,000 jobs were created, but they built 500 McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? It got built, or 300 Subways, you understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm not no big numbers guy. You just can't throw some numbers at me and say, we did this. What does that really mean? Because numbers can be skewed. And
half the time the employees aren't even getting treated right. Let's not even talk about Walmart.
Exactly.
Walmart's great. What are you talking about?
Hey, man, just because that's your favorite store and they're the only person open around you. That's your fault. You moved away out there.
Walmart's always open for you, man. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407.
That's how we're like, we ain't even gonna talk about that because we can do a whole show on Walmart. I can go on Walmart, really.
Just a Walmart.
That's what our statistics or anything. I can go all day on Walmart.
Personal experiences.
Just observation. Because I'm 37 years old. I've been around. I worked a lot of places. I can just look around and observe. I can sit anywhere, actually, anywhere, any store, and sit there for about 10 minutes and figure out if the manager's any good or not. You can tell,
Trying to say the managers at Walmart aren't that great, brother.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Anybody was in Walmart 10 years ago and go in there now and tell me you don't see a difference.
Not even go to Walmart now and go to Publix.
Publix, you ain't gonna speak on that either. That's a whole nother level.
You don't like Publix?
No, I do love Publix. That's why I say it's another level.
Oh, okay. Who doesn't love Publix?
You're talking about a relatively, in comparison, it's still a small company compared to, big, massive Walmart, Publix still, they whole claim to flame is the Southeast. So they just still in one region of the country, so.
Another story I saw, this is a local story that I saw on the news. I actually read an article about it, and then I heard about it on the news as well. It's about the Orlando City Soccer Paramore Committee. So there was a Paramore Committee that is being headed by Regina Hill, Orange County Commissioner Regina Hill, and Senator Geraldine Thompson are the leaders of this Paramore Committee. And what was troubling in the article is that the committee was basically created about 3 months ago. And as of this article, which I saw it a couple days ago, October 27th, they asked Commissioner Regina Hill whether or not they've met. And her comment was, well, at this time, I have not spoken to Senator Thompson about anything in the past 3 months. So, and then, if you're paying attention in Orlando, they had the groundbreaking ceremony a few days ago. So the groundbreaking ceremony happened, and the committee's been in place for 3 months, and nobody's had a conversation with one another about nothing. I'm not saying that they're not going to do anything, because, it's still possible for something to happen. But it definitely seems troubling that we got a groundbreaking ceremony, which means if we're groundbreaking, that means contracts are in place. Contracts are in place. Construction contracts are in place for things to begin to happen. And yet the committee, which I'd imagine the goal of the committee is to figure out how to get the community involved in the project of building the soccer stadium, has yet to meet. So contracts are signed, the committee hasn't met, and after the fact, we're going to find ways for the community getting involved in this project? Is that how it works, Jeremy?
Apparently.
Is that you after the contracts are signed, after the ink is dry, you're going to come back and make an impact on how the community is going to be able to get involved in the project?
It's obviously not a priority.
Right. No, first of all, you got to shout out Mike Cantone for the article. Brilliant article, really. It really shed a lot of light and let you know how much, how much these midterm elections really matter when you're talking about voting for your county commissioners, voting for your city commissioners. How, people think, oh, it's just this city commissioner or just a county commissioner. Look, there's money to be made all the way around, especially you talking about a city like Orlando. As much land, or a county like Orange County, just Central Florida area in general, where all the land we have, all the room for growth, all the growth that's going on in general, contracts have to be signed, corporations come through here. In order to get anything approved, you got to go through the mayor's office, and you got to go through the city commissioners and the county commissioners. This stuff is not getting built without these people reaping some kind of benefits. So it's important to know whose hand is out and who's really looking after the community.
407-894-1680, 407-894-1680. You want to say something, John?
What I think is really interesting about her specifically is that when she was running, you all know that she had a kind of a pretty long rap sheet.
Yep.
And that was like the main thing that she was going for, was the fact that, I can speak for the people because I've been in their shoes. It's all about the people.
Yep.
She won't even talk for the people now. It's just
She is talking about me. She
very
told
ironic.
you.
She has not said a word.
Hey, did you see the rap? She told you, but I get here. I'm gonna get this money.
So she's spoken to us
I'm just,
already.
hey,
No,
I'm
nothing
just
else to
playing.
say.
I'm just playing, man. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying.
I'm just playing, but I'm serious.
She didn't say that, but I'm just saying.
I'm just serious. That's it.
Yeah, like I said, I just think it just sounds very troubling. The impact that this committee is going to have when they're not even having meetings. I mean, it does coincide with the fact that obviously in the last 3 months, Commissioner Hill hasn't needed to do any kind of campaigning in the last 3 months. Certainly, Senator Thompson has had to be on the campaign trail these last 3 months to ensure her seat back in the Florida Senate. But even still, you would think if this was a priority, which certainly for a lot of residents that have received notices about how they had to move out of their homes or different things like that this would definitely seem like an important thing for a lot of those residents, and to know that nobody's had time to even address the issue, knowing that the project is clearly moving forward. It just sounds, when you're talking about a community, talking about gentrification and all of the nuances that happen around that, it's just disheartening to know that the people that are supposed to be there to advocate for them at this time seem to not be placing that as top priority number one. And maybe the argument that they have is that there's really nothing for them to do. I don't know, but I figure if there's a committee, then the committee needs to meet. The committee needs to advocate some kind of plan, and then put that plan into action. But knowing that we're groundbreaking on the ceremony, which means that a construction contract is in place, and the committee hasn't even met to discuss that. What's the point? You know what I mean? Not what's the point, but what are they doing? What are they doing, man? That's why
getting this money, man.
That's why it's so important. Like you said, that's why it's so important, man, to go out and vote and advocate and put people in office that will put you number one on their priority. And again, I'm not disparaging anybody. Maybe there's nothing for them to meet about at this moment in time. And I just don't understand the particulars. That's certainly possible. But I'll just say on paper and on the face of it, it just doesn't look good. It certainly doesn't come across and read very well at this point in time. I hope that this is, like I said, maybe I'm wrong and maybe there hasn't been anything to meet about. And then as we move forward in the next few months, as this project really begins to take shape, they're going to come back and they're going to have all of these powerful things that happen that this committee is going to bring forth and get the community energized actually about the project and not feel as if they're being thrown to the wayside. Maybe that's going to be the result in the next 3 months.
Well,
maybe
it's
maybe
maybe it is no need to meet.
But right
because
now,
contracts have been signed, checks have been written, and cashed.
But right now, it doesn't look good.
Hey, it ain't no reason enough to get together to talk because nothing's gonna change.
407-894.
I don't care what you say.
407-894. Like I said, I just hope for those people that are really affected down in Paramore, in that community that are really being affected by this, that the people that are supposed to advocate for them step up and start to do that. We'll see, man. We'll see what happens as we move forward in the future, but it's certainly not a good look to know that they haven't done anything as of now. We'll see, man. We'll see. Another story happening in the news. Of course, everybody knows Ebola is just still going on in the news. Did you see this week the first Dallas nurse that contracted Ebola was they declared her Ebola free. She went and did a photo op with the president. The president did a photo op with her. He gave her a big hug.
Hold on.
He wasn't wearing gloves. He wasn't wearing a mask. He just gave her a hug. He wanted you to know, look, people, she is free. Even the president is giving her a hug.
This is the thing. Now, it's either one or two things going on. It's either one or two.
This should be good.
Either one, there's a cure. Or two, they trying to kill President Obama. It's one of the two. That's all I'm trying to say.
What if it's both?
Hey, and it might be. It's one of the two, because when I saw that, hold on, she hugging the president. It's like somebody really tried to drive a point home here.
He is. He's definitely trying to drive.
I'm not so convinced that it's him.
Well, he's a part of it. He has to agree to do it. It's not like it's mandatory.
He does have to agree to do. Does he? He does have to agree to do it, but he's also. It's not like he looked at her test and said she was fine. Somebody told him that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. So what I'm saying is, either there is a cure, or somebody's trying to kill him. It's either one of the two.
Well,
All he know is fake.
Okay, there's three. Is that either all that stuff was fake surrounding her? Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe the Ebola virus itself is real. I believe it's real.
I agree.
Now, I don't. Well, we had that discussion last week. I do believe it's real, but I don't think a lot of the stuff you're hearing is factual.
yeah, and they've also declared the second dose Ebola-free now too.
I saw they was like every day she's improving every day.
Well, she's Ebola-free now.
You know, like they be giving her NyQuil or something.
So both nurses
Fever coming
that contracted
down.
her are
She
doing
can sleep
well.
now.
They're doing well, and they're going to move on.
you can rest
and not have to worry
medicine.
about it. This dude.
I'm just saying, this is crazy to me. On one hand, the brother fell out dead. He bleeding in his eyes, bruh. Now these two supposed to have Ebola. Now they walk around hugging the president, kissing dogs. I mean, come on, man. I'm not crazy now. I'm a little bit, but I'm not that crazy.
I think it's interesting how they keep trying to like ease our minds with, oh, you can't, it's not airborne, it's this. Look, everyone's getting better, and at the same time you still see them in these full body suits and, covered from head to toe, and you're like, wait, I thought you just said it wasn't airborne.
The funny thing to me is Governor Crispy and Como, as soon as they step off the plane, they rush them. They just like, they ain't taking no temperatures. Where you coming from? Oh, okay, I need you to step over here. We're going to wrap you in saran wrap.
Yeah, that was the story this week as well. There was a young lady came back. She's done some work. I think she's a nurse. That came back from Africa, and in New Jersey, they quarantined her. The thing that I found was funny is they quarantined her, and then she got upset about the fact that she got quarantined, and then was almost threatening to sue the state, because they quarantined her, and like,
Yeah.
what is the problem, woman? Like,
She was mad.
we're trying to prevent people from coming into the country and possibly, spreading Ebola, and you're upset that we know you've been to Ebola countries that have the disease prevalent, and yet you're upset and now want to sue because we want to keep you quarantined just to make sure you're okay. Americans, man. David, how you doing? What's your comment tonight, sir?
Pretty good. Heard you discussing the Ebola, and one of the things that I don't think anybody's discussed is that a lot of the hype that they're doing, if you think back to the mid-70s, late 70s, when HIV came out and AIDS, there was mass hysteria, even though people kept saying, you cannot catch it, only through body fluids. Ebola is the same thing. Ebola has been around since 79, if people would do the research. This is not a new disease, and it is not airborne. It's bodily fluid. So part of what the media and certain Republicans are doing are creating mass hysteria, blaming it on politicians, on Obama, and they're creating this mass hysteria that is not necessary. Unless you're going to come into contact with somebody's bodily fluids, you're not at risk.
Right. Yeah. We addressed that issue last week. That a lot of the misconception that's going on with the different reporting.
Right. And it's unfortunate, especially we as minorities don't do our own research. We listen to what people say. I talk to people at work, and they're like, "Oh my God, if I go on an airplane, I'm wearing a mask. I don't want anybody sneezing around me." I'm like,
know,
come
that's
on.
crazy.
Right.
Educate yourself and stop listening to the media who's hyping it. And what people don't understand, the media is hyping this for ratings.
Right.
They get
Right.
ratings.
Right. Exactly.
And a lot of people don't understand that. My last comment is, thank you for encouraging people to vote. We as minorities do not vote in midterm elections. This election is very important. Minorities will be the one to decide who's the governor.
Yes.
And we have got to get out in masses like we did when Obama ran in 10 and 12. And I mean 12 and 14. Well, 10 and 12.
8 and 12.
We have got to get out and vote. We have got to. historically we don't vote in midterms.
Right.
So please encourage everybody to get out there and vote. Whoever you vote for, at least do your civic duty that people died for and get out and vote.
Exactly. We appreciate your comments tonight, David.
Yeah, thank you,
No
David.
problem.
Yeah. Like I can't advocate enough to vote, man. I don't care who you vote for. He's right. That what they're pushing across the country is that minority voters are going to make the difference because we typically don't show up in these midterm elections. So if we do show up, we have an opportunity to help push whatever candidate we go out and vote for into office. And do your research, man. Do your research, because the expectation, of course, is that if we do show up, we're going to vote Democratic. And to an extent, that's pretty much true. But do your research and find out who you want to vote for, whether it be the Republican candidate, the Democratic candidate, or the independent candidate. Remember, there is an independent candidate out there as well. So you got all three options. You got 3 options, people.
All you got to do is choose one.
Just choose one. So, Jeremy, did you say you chose the Democratic option? Is that right, sir?
I said, could you please stay out of my personal life, sir? Actually, I wrote in myself on all the ballots.
Oh, did you?
Except for the amendments.
Oh, okay. All right.
On the amendments, and all amendments, I put maybe.
Yes, no, maybe, circle one.
Yeah, I put the maybe. And it read when I went to the machine. They said, okay, yeah, we got you.
We know what you mean. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're piggybacking on that story that, like I said, the New Jersey nurse, the idea that she's going to, sue the state of New Jersey now because they wanted to quarantine her, and we wonder, there's been a lot of noise about, shutting down our borders, this, that, and the third, and the president has certainly pushed back against that. And even though there's been advocating on both sides, Democrats and Republicans have been advocating for it, but it just goes to show you the reasons why, at least in our country, we'd have some of those challenges because they're doing it in other countries. They're doing it in Australia. Some of the African countries are shutting people out who are traveling from Ebola-affected countries, and so it's happening other places but us. We got an American citizen who we can confirm has been around Ebola patients, and she's upset that she gets stopped at the airport. And we want to check her out and be fully comfortable with the idea that she doesn't have Ebola because as far as she's concerned, I don't have no fevers, so leave me alone.
Leave her alone.
Leave me alone. Like, please, man. We trying to protect the country here.
Where was she quarantined at? Did they just kind of put her in a tent with no bathroom or anything?
I saw at one point. I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe I can't remember which state it was. They let one of them be quarantined at home.
Well, eventually what they did with her is they did let her go home because she was raising such a fuss. So she did eventually let her go back home and be quarantined at the house. But initially they were trying to quarantine her from even coming in. So, but it just blew my mind. Typical America. I'm gonna sue you since you're gonna try and quarantine me because that you violate my rights. Let's forget about the rights to the other people who you're gonna come in contact with, and assuming you have Ebola. Potentially infect. Let's forget about them. Let's just worry about you and your right to be able to come in and
the American way
and travel your Ebola across the state. It just blows my mind the way we act sometimes, man, as Americans and how we stand up for what we believe to be right. I think there's a time and a place for that, and when you're kind of dealing with a crisis or a potential crisis, I think there's some exceptions that can be made.
I think potential crisis is the key adjective, though. You got to say when you say potential, because I'm still not convinced. Like I said, I understand why she's raising the fuss, because if she's saying that, I saw, where was it? What did I either saw? No, I did. I read it, where it was a doctor saying that they're doing these quarantines. They're not doing it on fact, because they said it was confirmed that it can't be transferred when the patients are asymptomatic, as these are. So it's like they're just quarantined under fear. So it's like if they're going off factual information, they would know that they should not have to worry about these people. Some of the people coming back. I'm not saying all of them, but.
And I think that was what her argument was, the fact that they quote unquote never laid eyes on her. So. Your quarantine.
It's one of them things. I mean, she has a point there. Like, we still have rights. Just because there's a quote-unquote war going on doesn't mean you can stop all the Middle Eastern peoples. You know, it's the same type of effect.
Not all of them. Just some of them.
Just some of them. But apparently, if you go to New York, New Jersey, and you come from a continent, you get off a plane from Africa, you getting wrapped in a saran wrap.
Yeah. And I think that may be warranted until we can prove otherwise. That's just how I see it, brother.
I just don't believe it. 'Cause that's how it starts.
That is how it starts.
That's how it starts.
That's how it starts. It's also how it spreads, too. But
No, I'm not talking about the disease. When I say that's how it starts, that's how the legal discrimination starts.
We'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Like I said, they kept her for 2 days to let her go, and she's at home, and hopefully she does not manifest the actual disease, and she actually is free. That's my hope for her. And even the doctor in New York that got contracted, hopefully he feels better as well. We'll see what happens. All right, we want to thank you for listening. We'll see you next week at 9 p.m. This is WOKB 1680 AM, your urban empowerment and inspiration station.
You're listening to the Urban Empowerment and Inspiration Station, 1680 WOKB.
He justified. Yeah, free me forever. But one day, he's coming back. Oh, y'all don't know this. Glorious day.